What is going on? What is going on? What is going on, party people? It's your boy, Coach D Brown, former big leaguer, former first round pick with the Kansas City Royals. Give me all this knowledge that I can with this youth baseball space, helping kids get maximum exposure in and around the country and helping kids get into school. I'm joined, man. Veteran of the show. Shit, been here, done that. Know the lay of the land and everything when it comes to this show over here. But
Yep.
I felt that was super important to have my boy back on here. I think the last show we did probably we had over 10,000 some views over here. It was probably one of my biggest shows all the time. Leader had his I'm about to say some craziness on the show more often. But I'm joined by my boy, man, for over 25 years plus, man. Been in and around the game for many, many years. Former pro player himself. And has worked it to the point where now his son is a fifth round pick of the Philadelphia Phillies in this past year's draft. I should say last year's draft now. And he's out there in spring training right now watching his son play. And we're going to share and talk about those moments now with him. But I'm joined by my boy, man, Vic Radcliff, man. What's up, Vic? What's going on, man?
All good. We're down here soaking the sun up. Wife and I and my daughter just left the beach. Like I said,
Right.
it just happened to be perfect, right? Aaron left last Sunday to go to spring training. I'm a teacher by day, right? So this is our spring break week. So, we were able to take this opportunity to get out of town for a week. So feeling pretty good. What you got for me?
Yeah, I'm saying, man. Yeah, you ain't have to tell everybody you out here on chilling on the beach. It's already a blessing to have your son out there hitting baseballs with a
Right.
professional uniform on. But you got to throw in the fact that you and the wifey and daughter down there is chilling on the beach. You got to throw that in there too, huh?
Yeah, man. I don't listen. I said that because it's a blessing in itself. We don't get to normally do these kind of things, especially this kind of year, this time of year. Normally, it's always everybody saying, "Hey, coach, we out of town for the week. We get back together." And now I'm like, "Hey, I'm out of town this week. I'm not gonna be able to see you this time." So while I hate to turn people down and say, "Hey, I won't be there," it feels good to be able to get out of town and go check my son out and say that I'm going on vacation. Because that's not, D, that's not something we get to do, especially this time of year.
No doubt about it, man. I know you obviously working and damn near always coaching on the damn field. So, man, so tell me, man. We're gonna talk about various topics, man, but I love to hear. Um, it's been a while, man, since you stepped foot on the spring training, field, man,
Yeah.
and now you get a chance to watch your son wear a uniform, man. I haven't really talked to you, especially in a live setting like this, man. But how does it feel, man, to finally get to see your son in a professional uniform during spring training and playing, fulfilling his, dreams?
It's crazy, D. Yesterday, when we went to the field to watch him hit, like I was telling you, it's a little different than when we had spring training where it was like tons of people running around, like flocks of animals, but it's not like that anymore. They got small groups. So it's just about a group of 6 kids in a group taking BP on the field by themselves. I mean, that's a luxury in itself. Like, it's not a bunch of people out there. It's just you getting your hacks in. But to answer your question, it's surreal because I'm just leaning on it. I'm just leaning on the outside fence because we can't go in, right? I'm just leaning on the fence watching. And one of the guys came around, security or whatever. He was like, "Hey, how can I help you and stuff?" And I was like, "Hey, I'm just not here to cause no trouble. I'm just watching, man. I'm just taking it all in. I'm enjoying seeing my son, all of them. I'm like enjoying seeing the people on the field in uniform, just doing their job, right? That's their job. To play BP. It's crazy, but I'm real blessed to be able to watch my son do it.
I know it's a little different over there. Why you say you watching everybody do what they do, and hey, and do you get flashbacks, man, in the last couple of days, man? Do you get flashbacks to? I know you say it's different, but do you get any flashbacks, man, being on that field and knowing that time of the year, that smell of that Florida air? Because this is that time of the year we used to be down in that Florida air, smelling that, the air
Yeah,
down there. Do you feel
yeah.
you get any flashbacks, some deja vu's down there, or what?
Man, I do because I think about those days where we were young back then, D. So we were just wide-eyed looking for whatever was getting ready to happen, not really knowing what to expect. And then, seeing people like George Brett walking through the camp and Buck O'Neil and, just seeing these legends walk through, like, man, I'm here, right? And so to see, like I was talking to you about the other day, my son has number 22 on his back. I know that people who really don't know about this, they don't understand what I mean when I say he has number 22. Like, when you get to spring training, they don't ask you what number you want, right? They just give you some like random. My number was like 96 every year, right? I was a no one. But what I'm saying is that when you get your number to walk around spring training, that means that just says a lot of little subtle things about what they feel about you. So, that kind of stuff makes me feel good for him because he's just been waiting to be recognized. And but I'm still telling him, like, hey man, you still a nobody. You still got to make him say your name. You still got to make him pay you. So, but I'm looking for the work. We're gonna put in the work. I didn't have that kind of work ethic myself when I was playing. I really got myself ready to play baseball when I got to spring training. I didn't put in that kind of work in the off season. So just, having the background knowledge, knowing how much it takes to put into it, is just only going to help him get to where he needs to be.
Let me see here. My boy Anthony Luna says, my son has a game, but I'll definitely come back and watch this. Just wanted to say, D, you the man, and Vic, I'll be in ATL this summer. Would love to have both of y'all eyes on my dude. Deuces. All right. Cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Anthony out there in Cali. So,
okay.
Brandon says, what did he say? He said, Brandon said, "What's good, D? Prime time on air today." Yeah, I had to get him on here, right? You know what I'm saying? It's your boy over there.
All right.
So listen, man. We're talking about, obviously watching your son playing in the pro game, but you took it took a few years to get here, obviously with COVID, but even before COVID, Baron Holiday to, if everything worked out, to get drafted out of high school, but you guys chose to, turn down an offer that was made behind the scenes, and Baron attended Georgia Tech for many years. I posted something yesterday. I should say I shared a post. My boy Bill out in Jersey posted this on my recruiting services page, but I have since shared it, and it's been shared many, many times. And I wanted to put it in the title, but it was too long. But I felt like you were the best person to talk about this because you being drafted out of high school, and Baron had the opportunity to be drafted out of high school, but you guys as a family chose to have him go to a 4-year school. Now, the chart that I'm telling you about was a chart that was the opening day rosters in the major leagues this year had 46% 4-year college guys, 25% high school guys, 24% international guys, and 5% JC guys. And I just thought that number. I talked to different guys, in and around the game in the front office that are still heavily involved about these percentages and these numbers. And I felt like with you, been out of high school yourself, drafted out of high school, and now, you had an opportunity for your son to get drafted out of high school and go to the 4-year. I wanted to kind of share your story and share that light. Obviously, he hasn't made the major leagues yet, but he would be a college guy. Now, what are your thoughts, one, on that number? Like, what's your opinion on, the 46% of the open day rosters right now, 4-year college guys, and the 25% high school, and so on. What's your thoughts on that, chart that I posted yesterday on my pages?
Well, it sounds right. It makes sense. It's for every reason why I felt like he needed to go to school in the first place. Like I know from my experience, and probably from your own experience, D, when I got drafted, here I am, a kid who is.
And what round did you get drafted again, Baron? So just so we, I know you've been on the show, but there may be somebody who hasn't known. But you're a high school guy. But what round did you get drafted in out of high school?
So I was a 4th-round draft pick by the Royals, and
So
I was
you're
a
a top
shortstop.
5 round shortstop out of high school and
Hmm.
signed all right, to go play professional ball. All right, go ahead. From that point on.
So, you know, as a high school kid, a lot of times, well, let me just speak for me personally. I didn't even, I didn't have any work ethic. I just, a lot of times these kids who come out of high school they just have so many natural gifts that it's like, okay, they got a lot of potential. Let me give them a little bit of money and let's see where it goes. With a college draft pick, it's like they've already had an opportunity to pretty much show who they are as a baseball player. They are closer to the big league than a high school kid. Like for me, well, you know how it is. When you draft a high school kid, they got time and they got patience. They're gonna they're gonna put some stuff into you, and hopefully one day you develop into a big leaguer. When you have gone to college and they know that you, especially when you play in the ACC like Barron has, you're pretty much playing high A. In my opinion, you're pretty much playing. You're at least playing Midwest League. You're at least playing, regular A ball. When you play in the ACC, I think that it's more like high A. So they have a good picture of who you are as a baseball player when you put the time in and you go to college and you have a successful career there. So it wasn't hard for us to make that decision with him. I just knew that it was only going to be good for him, going to be better for him. I remember my experience, and I'm not saying I didn't have a good experience. I had a great experience actually when I played, but I just know that I had Big D. I can't say it enough. And I am the one who's talking about kids working hard, and I stay on them about that because I did not work at it. I was just I was just good at baseball. That was it. I didn't work at baseball. I was just good at it naturally. And so I know that when you go to college, and I used to be envious of those kids who went to college. Like, when you went to play in Spokane, you were there with guys who played 4-year baseball. Like, how did you feel when you were around those other cats that you knew? Like, even though you were already 3 years in, maybe, or 2 years in, how did you feel around those kids that played 3 years at Arkansas or played 3 years at Alabama? Like, did you feel like that they had some knowledge or some insight that you didn't? Because that's how I felt. I felt like they had already put in a lot more time. They had a lot more reps. They had a lot more experiences than I did, even though that when I played with them, I already had like 3 or 4 years in.
I don't know. That's a good question. I didn't really. I mean, there's Joe Caruso's, the Joe Dillons, Texas Tech, and Alabama, and big time programs. But I didn't really. I mean, I can't remember my thoughts on that, Vic. That's a great question to me because I was just so focused, and to me, I was just in Spokane and playing in front of fans. That was the biggest thing for me because at
Right.
that time we were just been in Fort Myers down there with no
Oh
fans.
man.
So to me, I thought the minor leagues was going to be like how Spokane was with fans, and then I was in a rude reality check over there
D
with Fort Myers
D. Let
UCL
me tell
days.
you something, man. So you remember the GCL days when we're out there on that hot? I'm talking about hot field where they have to use ammonia water to help revive you at times, right?
I remember
And
that.
no
Ammonia.
fans
Well,
whatsoever. And I remember that dude. I wonder if that man is still alive. Remember that old guy in Fort Myers that he used to run around the outfield fence. This old man with leathery skin, right? But that was our only fan, right? And then
right.
the only other fans that came to games were if your parents came to town that weekend. That's
Yup.
it. And then, every now and again they had the nerve to let us play in the stadium.
Right.
that's
Right.
when I had that's when I had my best games. When we went and played in the Red Sox stadium, or they let us
Yeah.
play in the Twin Stadium.
Right.
That's when I felt like, wow, I'm the man now. I've made it. But nah,
Right.
you there's a lot of people, there's a lot of first rounders that don't even make it out of Fort Myers just because they don't have that
Mm,
that
mm,
drive, that inner drive to get themselves
mm.
going. Like they need somebody to pat them on the back, or they need somebody cheering for them. Like if you make it out of rookie ball, you've gone through the boot camp, and you got a chance after that. But um, yeah, man, when you see like, okay, so I saw Texas A&M play on TV the other day. Man, D, they had like 12,000 people. It reminded me of like in Lansing, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. 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 I
They had
heard about Lansing. I
12,000
never
people.
played there, but I used to hear through y'all.
Man, that place used to be rocking. But those are some good times. Those are some good times. Playing in front of fans is great. But minor league baseball is definitely a grind, especially when, and you already know this, D, you play much higher than me. So, but you had the luxury of baseball. You know what it's like to be a big leaguer. I didn't
Yeah.
experience that. I know what it's like to get out of the game and get on the bus at 11 o'clock at night and then
Mm,
travel 10 hours on
mm.
that bus with the freaking blue light in my face the whole night long and then have to get up at 1 o'clock game the next day. That's but I don't regret any of those things, man. Those things were definitely some character builders.
Right.
And but I don't regret none of that. I feel good about, the experiences that I'm able to share with my son. Um, and he's been living the life, like I said, as an ACC player. Yes, they did some bus rides and things too like that, but they've been playing in front of, that's what I'm talking about. Those kids that are in college, they're playing in front of fans, they're signing autographs, they're doing all that stuff that they don't have to do, that you don't, that we had to do in rookie ball. So I feel good about where Barron is. I think that, right now where baseball is, they say they have cut out rookie leagues. I'm not totally sure about that. Are they not going to do GCL? I just can't
Yeah.
see, D, how you send. Go ahead.
Go ahead. You go. Keep going.
No, I was just saying I can't see how they send a high school draft pick to A-ball.
Yeah.
I don't see how that. I can't see that.
Me
I
neither.
can't see that in my head. So to send a kid right out of the house into, I'm living in maybe a host family's house or in a hotel, or I gotta get myself something to eat and I just don't see how that's gonna go. But I guess we're all about to see how minor league is gonna go right now.
Right. But speaking on that, the and just some of the stuff that you said, obviously where baseball is now, and again, for the people that are just kind of joining, I got my guy Vic Radcliff, longtime friend of mine, ex-teammate of mine, ex-pro himself, fourth-round pick out of high school, a year before myself. His son Barron, 3-year player at Georgia Tech, just got drafted with the Philadelphia Phillies, fifth-round pick in the 2020 draft. And we're having this conversation based off the chart that I posted on my page, and that's been shared across multiple baseball pages about opening day rosters in the major leagues right now, where 46% of the major league rosters right now are from 4-year guys, 25% high school guys, 24% international, and 5 to 6% junior college guys. And we just kind of having this conversation. I wanted my boy Vic to come and talk about this because he had a decision to make with his own son. His son had an opportunity to get drafted extremely high out of high school, and they chose to go the 4-year school route. And we just talk about some of the pluses and minuses that Vic, being a high school guy himself out of, and dealing with the minor leagues, and now his son just getting into the pro game himself, but thinking about some of the pluses and minuses, man, and just what you just said, playing at Georgia Tech, big time college, you're signing autographs, you're playing in front of 8, 9, 10,000 people. There's pressure that's involved that's playing at, these conference games and rivalry games and stuff like that. So, I had to talk with Vic. I was talking, I don't know if I talked to you yesterday about this, but I was talking to a front office exec, front office friend of mine yesterday about this topic and why it is what it is. And he basically said the people that are running the game of baseball right now, GMs and a lot of the high level guys and the game right now are not necessarily baseball guys. These are smart guys, the Theo Epstein type of guys that a lot of them haven't played past high school. But they're running, major franchises, major organizations now. So they want to go with a safe bet. So that's why they're choosing the 4-year college guys, especially in the high rounds, where they know what they're going to see, know what they're getting, because they've seen it, for 3+ years past high school. So they know that, these guys are necessarily ready. Do you feel like that with Barron, that college has prepared him? Do you feel like he was slighted a little bit, maybe not getting the pro training and stuff like that as an 18-year-old? What do you feel about that? Being like, what it is at 18, 19, 20 to be in the minor leagues, on the grind, as opposed to you don't know. I mean, you coached at college level, but to play at that college level as an 18, 19, and especially in a big time Power 5 conference. Do you feel like he was slighted, or you feel like it was an advantage being at Georgia Tech, or what?
I think that Georgia Tech provided him with an opportunity to play advanced level baseball. So, we already know that. Well, everybody hasn't heard me talk about Barron. So, Barron was when we moved to Atlanta in 2014. Our whole objective was to get him into a position to where he could become a Division I quarterback, wherever, right? And baseball wasn't even the goal, right? It was what we do. We do baseball. Like I said before, I was just good at baseball, right? Barron's just natural. Like, he has natural power. He has good hand-eye coordination. He don't even have to take BP. He can go out and crush, right? That's how he's always been all his life. But then when you start getting in your head, and that's another thing about college baseball. People start trying to change up what you do, and I don't know if it's on purpose, D. But I know that a lot of our kids have similar stories. Like, they get to school and they feel like they were doing okay. It's just, D, man, I had a conversation with a kid yesterday. I'm not going to tell you what school he's at because I'm not. But he went to this school as a, infielder and outfielder. In the fall, he struggled offensively. They told him at the end of the fall meeting, hey, these are the kind of things you need to work on, because he just transferred in there from a JUCO, right? These are the kind of things you got to work on so that you can get yourself on the field in the spring.
Okay.
Offensively, right? But so they just redshirted him, okay? 10 games into the season, they redshirted him, and they told him that, one, you don't have the hands to play infield at this level, and two, you need to work on your defense so you can get on the field as a defensive outfielder. Now, in the fall, defense was never a thing. They told him it was about his defense or about his offense. But in the fall, now you're telling him, one, he can't play the infield at this level, and two, that he needs to work on his defense. D. Now, I don't know everything, but I do know when I see pro talent, and I recognize his pro talent when he was in high school. And he has it, right? He could play pro baseball. But now you got these guys telling him that he don't have what it takes in order for him to play. And he's a shortstop. I know he's a shortstop. I've worked with him. I know he has the talent to do it.
And you were a 4th-round pick in the nation, and as a shortstop,
right? Okay, I've seen a couple shortstops in my day. So, but they're telling him. So now he's in his head thinking, like, am I not good enough? Like, why would you tell a kid? Well, first of all, why did you bring him to your school if that's the case? Why did you bring him into your program if that's the case? So anyway, he's redshirting this year, and I told him the biggest thing he needs to do. And I know, listen, I get off topic when I talk to you, so you got to redirect me at times.
I got you.
So I told him, you need to listen, continue, because he don't travel with the team now, right? So he's not really a part of things unless they're on campus and doing practices and things like that. So I'm like, hey, man, I want you to keep, first of all, don't lose confidence in yourself. Keep working hard. I know that you're not going to get on the field this year, but what you need to do is go ask that coach, have a conversation, because he hadn't had that talk yet. Yeah, they redshirted me, but I don't know what your plans for me are. He needs to find out, okay, so I'm gonna give up this year then. All right, so what are your plans for me going forward? You see me, since you say I can't play the infield, you see me playing every day as a center fielder or a corner. What do you see in me? What am I gonna do for you next year? If I'm gonna give up myself for your program, what are you gonna do? Where do you see me? And so if they don't have any plan, if that coach can't look at you as a man and say, hey man, this is what you're gonna do next year, this is what I see you being able to do. He has to be able to do that or say, I don't see you playing here. And so then we could just cut our ties and go. I don't have to spend the rest of my year wondering what you want to do with me. I gotta, because just like I told Barron when he's at Georgia Tech, I can't say it all, but I told him, You didn't just come here to watch other people play. So I want you to continue working hard. I want you to keep on being a good teammate. But I need you to go have a conversation and say, hey, what are your plans for me? And so once he had that conversation, and I got to give it to him, the coaches at Georgia Tech were straight up with him. They were like, hey, man, just keep working. You're going to get your chance. And when he got his chance, he kicked the freaking door open and never looked back. He never sat again once he got his opportunity. So it worked out for him that way. And you got to keep a good attitude. As parents, we have to keep a good attitude for them because we can't go around bashing coaches, telling him how great he is. You can't do that as a parent. And so when I had a talk with this kid's dad, he was like, man, the coaches they seem kind of standoffish. I don't know if they want to talk to me or not. That's something that happens at college. And I was like, well, really in college, they don't want to talk to no parents. That's not just this school, but that's everywhere. You like, even when I coach, like you ain't, parents ain't talking to no coach. They're not talking to you. The most conversations you're going to have with college coaches is in the recruiting process. And then after that, it's pretty much going to be, hey, coach, good to see you, coach. That's going to be it if you ever see them at all through the hotel lobby. But for Barron, I think it was an advantage for him to go there because, you have to have that mental or that adversity tool. You got to have it because when you get the pro ball, you know how cutthroat it is. We talked about this before. Man, somebody don't care if you lose your leg in an accident. Hey, I get to play now. Right. I ain't got to worry about that cat. So, and I hate to say it, but that's just the way it is in pro ball. It is dog eat dog. And so you can't. And Barron had to learn that his freshman year. It's like, man, everybody ain't your friend. All right. I mean, I know these are teammates and all, and I want you to have a good experience. I don't want you to be a bad teammate, and I don't want you to be selfish. But at the same time, you can't let your full guard down and think that everybody is for you. That ain't the way it is.
I love what you said, man, because
hey, Lester.
I wanted to post that on there. I knew that was fam. That last name. I knew that was fam. So
that's Michigan.
Yeah. So I'm glad you kind of going this route, right? Because we're talking about the major league rosters and the percentages of 4-year guys that are on major league roster that have made the major league roster. This doesn't mean that, again, I want to reinstate this because some of the parents had issues. They thought that a 4-year guy went straight to the major league, straight to the major leagues, and they were like, this numbers don't even make sense. I know 6 guys that went straight from high school to the major leagues. No, you don't. That doesn't happen. Never. So every one of those guys that's on the list, besides maybe a small percentage of international guys like the Otanis or high level Japanese players that already went through the major leagues or in their country, right. Those are very small percentage. But I'll say 98% of that whole list over there have gone through the minor leagues. So I just want to kind of get that out the way because there was some parents that didn't understand the nature of the graph, right? And I know some parents are like, what are you talking about? But we were just talking about a graph that states that 46% of the major league roster today, this opening day, during this time right now, 46% of them were 4-year guys, 25% of them were high school guys, and 24% international, 6% JC's guys. This is their last highest level of education, especially for the American guys, not guys that went straight into the, job, like, Vic, who ended up going back and getting his degrees and masters and stuff like that. I never chose to do that route, but Vic, if he was to make the major leagues or so like myself, he would be considered in that 25% drafted out of high school. Okay. Yes. So, anyway, let me get some of these questions that are coming in. I want to kind of keep directing. I love what you were saying, because you're kind of talking about on the college side of things, like the decisions and stuff, when that comes to recruiting, that can hinder you making an opening day roster. Even high level kids are going to college and having to sit the bench and redshirt, and decisions that need to be made from a parent's point of view. All right. So Derek Porter says, "What up, D? What's up, D Porter? What's up? My son is a sophomore and is the leadoff hitter for his school. He's number 2. And number 37 overall, I guess, in the nation in runs scored and 128 in the nation and on base percentage. I'm trying to figure out how you even know that. But my question is, are those eye-popping stats that pro college scouts look at and will put him on their radar? Or
Can I
do
answer
they
that?
figure he's just a sophomore and we'll see how he'll do when he's a junior or senior? His batting average is 409 with 18 hits, whatever. All right.
Let
So
me answer
Vic,
that.
yeah, you want to answer it. I
Let
was
me
gonna
answer
give it
that.
to you. Okay.
So I'm assuming that your son is a sophomore in high school. Is that what
Right.
you got from that too, D?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Scouts are too focused in on the current year's draft to pay attention to any stats that a sophomore or a junior have. Okay. They're mostly all focused on kids who are 2021 draft eligibility. Right. That's really all they're on right now. Now it's good that your son is showing that kind of potential. And he needs to continue doing that. And the summer after his junior year, Derek, if he's still putting up those kind of stats, he will then get on a radar, because what will happen is pro scouts will be looking at kids who are the year before him. And if he is showing out on that particular level at that point during the summer, I'm not even talking about high school baseball. I'm just talking about during the summer. If he's doing that then against other elite talent, then he will definitely go on radar. And also recruiters, college recruiters also refer guys to pro scouts. Okay, so if your guy is doing his thing, and you guys are following the recruiting process, then don't even worry about that pro thing. It'll happen the way it should.
All right. Good advice. Here we got. You take this one. All right, Vic. At what grade level should a player accept an offer?
Well, Melody, and I promise you all, I'm not trying to be the bearer of any bad news, but I'm always going to keep it 100% real with
Please
you.
do. Please do.
Um, just because your son, let me just put it like this: just because your son commits as a freshman, sophomore, junior, it does not mean that he's going to
Mm,
be on the opening day roster when he goes to that school. Just even if he signs a letter of intent, look at my
mm,
face. Even if he signs a letter of intent, it does not mean that he's going to be on that roster. It does not mean that he's going to walk into a hallway. Let me just give an example. I did not know this, right? Now, it didn't happen to my son, but I did see it happen. And I don't know what school it happened at. I just know it happens. Okay. A kid had got an offer from a school when he was a sophomore. He think he going to that school. They ain't even doing the recruiting process no more, because this is my dream school. This is where I always wanted to go. So you go through your 11th grade year. Hey, you show up the perfect game in PBR and on the commitment side and say, boom, 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 I'm going to this school. Wow, the kid, ooh, he good, right? And then his senior year comes around, and then he signs his letter of intent. Yeah, I knew it was going to happen. He wears the hat. He takes the pictures with the family, and everybody's smiling, right? Okay. Graduate high school. That summer comes around, and that kid who was a junior who plays your position decides that, or he had a bad year, and he decides he's coming back to school. Well, he was already on a 75, 80%, maybe 100% scholarship, and now they don't have room to give you money because you play the same position that he played. Hey,
mm.
son, you're not going to be able to play here, but we'll help you find another school to go to. Now, I'm just, like I said, I'm not trying to be a bearer of bad news. Hear me, but I'm telling you that can happen. So it says, at what grade level should a baseball player commit? I mean, I don't know what the answer is. I'm just telling you that it's not guaranteed just because you commit early.
Mm. Okay. Melody, I
Okay, hold on. I'm not done.
okay.
So,
Go ahead. You
okay,
got it.
Melody, your son can still commit. Let's say he commits to, I'm gonna just pick a school, Tulane. Okay, it's in New Orleans. Everything's pretty, right? Um, he could even sign his letter of intent, get to Tulane, play during the fall, right? But but he don't have a good fall. And then they decide, hey, it ain't gonna work out, son. You ain't gonna never play here. Then maybe you stay at Tulane as a student, or if you want to continue playing baseball, you figure out how to get into the transfer portal, and then you go somewhere else. So I'm just telling you that now it can all work out. Also, of course, we want it to just all work out, and that's where that's where I commit to. That's where I go. Everything is honored, and then I stay here for 3 or 4 years. I get drafted, and I go, on to professional baseball. That is the ideal world, but I'm just giving you all the possibilities that can happen.
Facts. All right. Let me see here. Nadine says they told him just to stay in line to get into his head. It's a psychological game that is used to affect the confidence that he had in himself. The tactic, unfortunately, is used in different arenas to affect the ability of individuals that are excelling. That was going back to the infielder,
Mm-hmm.
the one that basically had the red shirt.
Yeah.
All right. That was that comment there.
Yeah.
This has come in. I don't know who said this, but does Barron wish he would have stayed with football with Mac Jones predicted to go in the top 5 in the draft?
Man, don't get me started on this stuff. Hey, somebody.
So you try to tell me your son Barron outplayed Mac Jones? You know what I'm saying? Vic. Because you told me a few quarterbacks that we all know and love out here in these streets in college football that's getting on this love, and some in the NFL right now, if I'm not mistaken, that Barron would compete on this youth level with. Am I lying?
Yeah,
No, we
no,
trying to
no,
keep
you're
it
not lying.
faithful.
You're not lying. You're not lying. So, since they brought up the name Mac Jones, it just brings back. Hey, I might even have Mac Jones to thank. Right? We might even have Mac Jones to thank that Barron is playing for the Philadelphia Phillies right now. Let me tell you why.
Mm, mm.
So Barron, was that his junior year? Yes, his junior year. It was doing. So about football. I hope people on here. Let me just tell you this: football is almost a year-round thing, right? During Barron's junior year at Norcross, they were having football scouting days or whatever in March and April, right? Under Armour,
Okay.
Nike, all these people were having their showcases in Atlanta. Everybody come to Atlanta for everything, right? So
Right.
Under Armour was having theirs. We go out. Barron had just had a nice day on the baseball field the night before. So this just showcases on a Saturday. We go out there, and of course we have been working on his throwing and everything because we know you got to stay in shape for football so that you can showcase your stuff, even though it's baseball season, right? So he goes out there, and listen, man, Barron is 6'4", almost 6'5". He can throw the ball almost 75 yards. If you want to Google him right now, go look at his senior year highlight tape, and you'll see that this man could have played at any school in America. I'm not just saying that because he's my son. All right, you can Google him now. Um, so every pass he can make, every single one of them, and he happens to be able to run. So he was a good quarterback option. Anyway, on this particular Saturday, he goes out there and he shows out. D, I'm telling you, spinning it well, spinning it well.
Mm-hmm.
Blake Sims was there. You remember Blake Sims? Used to be a quarterback at Alabama.
Alabama,
Blake
right?
Sims was there. Yes. Coaching him up, telling him all these things, telling how good he looks and stuff like that. So they get to the end of the thing. All right, there's a ceremony out at the end about who did the best and who all this stuff, who threw the ball the best and all this stuff. So Barron's name didn't get called. Um, and I'm looking like, because if your name did get called, you get to go on to some other thing in DC or whatever and showcase your talent a little bit more. Well, Mac Jones was already committed to Kentucky at the time. He wasn't. I don't know what happened, where the Alabama thing came from, but he was committed to
Oh, really?
Kentucky. And
Oh,
when they
wow.
called his name out, yes, he wasn't even the best. There were probably 3 or 4 other kids there that were better than him, right?
Really?
So when they called it, I'm standing in the back, when they called his name out, I was like, who? I didn't say it out loud, but it felt like I said it out loud. and at the end of that thing, Barron, when we were on our way home, he was like, "Dad, I'm not gonna cuss him here." because he don't cuss with me. He's like, but he'll ask me, can I say what I want to say? And I was like, yeah, man. He's like, I don't want to do this shit no more. And I was like, because he just felt like I'm tired of going to these things, showing out, but because I hadn't been in the circle for 3 or 4 years, like these other kids, like who's the kid at Georgia?
Jake Fromm.
Jake Fromm, yeah, like those cats, and Bailey Hoffman. This kid there was a group of kids. Now I'm naming names. You done made me mess up. Now I'm naming names, but there were a group of kids who that they were the in circle. They were the 5-star quarterbacks, and they went to Clemson and Florida State and Stanford and all these other things. And Barron was just like on the outside looking in, like, hey man, can I get some love too? And so, and yeah, he did have a couple offers, but it wasn't like that. And people weren't making no fuss about what kind of quarterback he was, even though he is who he is. But anyway, it all worked out the way it should have. I'm glad that the man is playing baseball. We still love football. We're still a football family, but it's meant for him. Like, it's in his DNA, right? Like you would expect that your son is going to do what you did. So I'm very happy that he's playing baseball. I'm excited to be down here and watch him right now, watch him run around and watch his brain, develop into a baseball brain. Because this whole time of COVID, all for a year, is really and him being home with me, it's really been an opportunity for us to develop his brain and mold him into a baseball thinker. So now, he watches baseball on his phone. Now he's looking at highlights. Now he is doing baseball things that he never even cared about doing before. So while I'm thankful for him, I'm thankful for the football thing and that we had that experience, but it made him have a chip on his shoulder about proving himself and, like, you know what? I ain't even got to do that. I don't even want to feel like I want to feel like chasing something that's not chasing me back. That's really where he was with it. So I'm happy that he's having the success that he's having now. What that question said? Does Barron wish he would have stayed with football? Okay, that's where we were at. Yeah, I don't went off on this Mac Jones thing.
Yeah, right. He got you going. He got you going.
You done got me telling a whole other story. We come here to talk about Mac Jones.
Yeah, forget about
we didn't come here to talk about Mac Jones. You know.
Right. He knew he was going. Yeah. He knew he was going with it. Sure. All right. Now, this was on a previous topic comment that says, this is so disheartening that a coach would do that to a kid. I like that you told him to go to the coach and find out what he needs to do so he can get on the field. Our kids have to have those conversations for themselves. The point is, when you get to the opportunity, you have to crush the opportunity. This is, again, going back to, your guy and also with Barron. You know, and I think it needs to be said. Some parents don't understand, Vic, like in the pro and the college game, that they understand it, but it's human nature to want to protect our kids. You know what I'm saying? And I never had a kid yet, you know what I'm saying, that's pro or college. And you obviously, how tough was it for you to bite your tongue knowing that, because everything, yeah, he got drafted high and everything, but it was I know we had plenty of conversations that you had went through where you was like, you was going through it a little bit over there at Georgia Tech, you know what I'm saying, with the sitting and not playing and waiting. And so, how did you have to deal with it from a parent standpoint of like waiting and being patient yourself, not just your kid, but as a parent, and especially you being a baseball dad?
It was hard, D. Man, it was hard. And I have these conversations with parents all the time. And then at the same time, I was dealing with it with my own kids. So I'm like, man, I really have to, pay attention to the things that I'm preaching, because, you just what a person has. Like, for me, it's hard for me to look at my son in another way. Like, I have to be able to look at him as my kid, but I also look at him as what he is and what his potential is and what he's capable of. And like, to me, when you see Vic Radcliff walk off the bus, you like that's what a big leaguer looks like, or that's what a pro quarterback looks like, or he must do something. Like you'll see a guy, like when you see somebody in the mall that look like him, you're like, man, I know he do something, right? Like he is somebody, right? So, and so for me as his dad, it was hard for me. It was a struggle, man. When me and my wife we used to argue. We used to argue, like we would go to the games. It was the toughest time in our marriage, D. Like to really fuss. we fuss. We can't, because we can't argue with no coach. And we ain't get no answers, so we just gonna fight each other. So we used to have some real ugly fuss arguments when Barron wasn't playing, just because we were frustrated and we had no answers. And but we got through it. The best advice we could have was, and I tell you, here's where the breakthrough was. We went to Miami his sophomore year. Barron had not started. Georgia Tech had already played 16 games. And we go into that season thinking he gonna start in right field. But he ain't played in the first 16 games. It was one game they were playing against, who was that, LSU or UCLA?
Yeah.
D. It was a game against UCLA that we had already won, and it was late in the game, and they started substituting these freshmen in the game, and then Barron's big ass comes jotting out. I was so pissed. When I saw him trotting his ass out on the field with the rest of the freshmen during the cleanup time. And I told him that night, I said, I took my hat off. I said, man, you gonna go and have a conversation with them coaches as soon as you possibly can. I'm like, listen, we ain't come here. We did not come here for you to be watching other guys get better at this. You ain't come here to play school. I knew that a kid at Ohio State got criticized for saying something like that a couple of years ago. But we ain't come here to play school. Yes, you're at Georgia Tech and you have to get your grades in order to stay eligible. So they ain't even a part of it. Like, we know you got to make your grades. So that's not what I'm saying. But you didn't come here to play school. You came here to prepare yourself for pro baseball. That's it. That's why you came here, right? So for him to be watching them play baseball, it was really, really upsetting to me. So hold on, dude, let me get this key out. So for me as a parent, I had to be like, hey man, you need to keep fighting. You need to keep on being the best teammate you could possibly be, and you need to schedule a meeting with your coach. Like that's the best advice I could have given him, because it was at that moment that he went and he had a talk with them, and they told him that, hey, certain circumstances have just worked out where other guys are killing it, and you had, because at that time they had some guys that were batting 450. Like you can't justify taking them out of the lineup. But those guys got the first shot, and so Barron was just the odd man out. That's just how it happened to be. But we stayed in our prayers. We were like, I'm telling you, truthfully, we were just like, Lord, we just wanted to get a chance. We don't want nobody to get hurt for him to get a chance, but we just want him to get his opportunity. And he eventually got his opportunity. So we were, Georgia Tech was their first ACC series. I'm coming. It was at Miami, and we were like, hey, we're going to Miami too. Even though we were hot, right? We were hot, D. Like, it was hard to be quiet. It was hard. My wife want to be a part of the story.
Tell the truth. You didn't want to go because you were mad, and I said, no, we're going to Miami.
True.
Hey, y'all still beefing over that shit? Y'all still beefing over?
Listen, man. I was at the point where I was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to watch. I don't want to participate. I'm already hot about this thing, and I'm trying to be positive for my son, and I don't want to be negative, right? So I didn't want to go. And she was like, "Nah, we're going. We done booked this room and stuff like that. We're going to Miami." So I was like, "You know what? We're going, and we're just going to enjoy ourselves. We're going to watch them play. We're going to cheer on. We're going to cheer Georgia Tech on, whether Barron get in the game or not. We're going so we can be supportive of him and the team." Well, first night he got in the game. He got a game-winning like RBI. Would have been if we didn't give up the bomb to lose the game. But Second night he played. He started and did really well. Third, and anyway, long story short, he did not sit out another game the rest of the year. And he ended up being second team All ACC, and he had a great season that year. But I done said a whole lot. Parents, I just need you to stay positive. Don't go trying to ring no coaches. Don't send no silly emails. Don't be getting on Facebook talking trash. Like, you can't do that. You can't do it. You have to stay positive for your kid, because if you don't, then they're going to be negative, and they're not going to do. They're not going to be a good teammate, and then they're going to have negative energy out there. So, and you don't need that. You need to have all the positive energy you can, and just stay positive for your kid. Have your kid stay positive, and things will work out for him. But you have to get your answers, though, and it's not up to you, parents, to get the answers. It's up to your son. Your son has to be the one to be a man and go say, "Hey, coach, can you schedule some time to have a conversation with me? I want to talk about my future here at this school." And I know that there are a lot. I talked to a scout D. Man, God rest his soul. Charles Peterson used to be with the Cardinals.
Cardinals, yeah.
You know him. He was like, "Vic, man," because when I was in the heat of this thing at the beginning of that season, he was like, "Vic, I could take you around the country, and I could sit you around multiple parents in the stands, and you guys will have the same story around the whole country. So it's not just that's what happens. I believe it is a part of the process. Now, you do look at some kids and you say, man, they ain't going through no adversity. They playing all the time. And there are those. But you got your situation. It ain't everybody, man. I mean, it's not just the stars who have the easy path. It ain't that way. Like, you're going to have your adversity. At some point, you're going to have it. So you got to be strong.
I like what you're saying, because it doesn't – I hope parents, you listening, because, obviously he's sharing his story about being patient and swallowing his tongue and not saying and getting mad, but holding it in and trying to be as positive as he can and telling his son to stay positive and all of that. Because if he would have wilded out and all of that, his son ended up having a great year, which essentially what became his main season he's had in college, because the season was cut the next year because of COVID. So essentially that year, even though he didn't play the first 16 games, he went on a tear from that point on when he got his chance, and essentially is what got him, solidified his draft status the next year he got drafted. So especially with COVID ending this. So it doesn't matter if you're a 12-year-old, 13-year-old parent wanting to, say something to the coach, and well, I should say 14, 15, because you're a young kid, you don't, but a teenager on up, let him fight his own battles, be the positive guy in the background, and be, talk to your son and say, listen, go talk to coach about something like that. All right. Let me see, we got some comments that are coming in. Nadine says, speak the truth, Vic. Some schools overcommit. Lauren says, facts, Vic, saw FSU cut 3 kids at Christmas break after fall baseball. All right.
Yes.
And then don't forget coaches change schools, and the new coaches can take scholarships. Just happened at Tennessee with the new football coach. NCAA baseball brings in 20 kids, and after the fall, they cut players even though they paid for school for 1 year. All right.
Yep.
Diva said, did he ever think about playing football and baseball in college?
Yes. But it would have depended on, okay, so I had a conversation, like through my relationships here in Atlanta. I've been able to run into a lot of influential people and had a lot of good conversation with folks prior to Barron leaving high school. And so there's a guy named, y'all know who Brian Jordan is. Brian Jordan played for the Braves and he played for the Falcons, just like Deion did. But he played his college baseball at University of Richmond. So it was his advice for me that was just like, if he does want to play two sports, he may have to go to a smaller school in order for that to happen. Like Vanderbilt recruited Barron as a quarterback, but they didn't want to let him play football and baseball, so that wasn't going to be an option. Tulane recruited him, and they would have let him play both. But after Barron's the experience, like I told you about the Mac Brown thing, after that happened, he was just like that. I don't even want to play football no more. Now, he did play his season out. Great year. You know why? Just because he wasn't worried about scouts were in the stands, what recruiters were in the stands. He was just free to play with his friends, and he had a really good season his senior year. And then more big offers came in from football. Like, can you convince him to not go play baseball now? And at that point, it was like, nah. It was like, nah, already had your chance, right? I don't want to do that no more. So, so he just, he made up his mind. I don't want to do that. Now, I did tell him also, hey, you out here talking about you don't want to play football no more, but you ain't got no baseball offers either. So what you think? what you think this is like? But again, when you're somebody like him who has that kind of ability, like people make room for you. And Barron's path to playing college baseball is very, very. It wasn't the most ideal route, just because it wasn't he committed early. Like Barron went into his senior year, he went into the summer before the senior year of his high school career, not having an offer in baseball, and that's something that you don't want to have happen, because that's kind of too late. In this day and age, that's too late, because all the scholarship money is pretty much given out. But when you're a draft prospect, you can garner that kind of attention.
All right. How did it feel when Barron not increasing in draft status going to college? Do you think it benefits kids into pro ball as soon as getting kids into professional ball as soon as possible? Maybe going to JUCO 1 year before going to 4-year school so they can get drafted and get professional training as soon as possible? Good question.
Man, that's a great question. And Facebook user, you need to get your name. I want to know. Well, that's a good question.
I can go to my page, but is it my private page? For some reason, I can't get those. I can't get those. I have to look through different things. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So, a kid who goes to a 4-year school, man, I have so many examples, D. Conventionally, when you go to a 4-year school, you have to wait 3 years before you're draft eligible, unless you're a 21-year-old sophomore, or a third year sophomore. Here, you need to get the bag, and then you can be eligible for the draft. If you go JUCO, you can be draft eligible after every year of college. After the first year at JUCO, at second year at JUCO, and then let's just say you transfer to a 4-year school, you're eligible then. So I think, really, in this day and age, maybe the JUCO route is not so bad an option, because let's just say you kill it your freshman year and you're ready to go. You can be draft eligible. Like Barron's best year was after his sophomore year. I really wish he was draft eligible after his sophomore year, because I know he got picked earlier in the 5th round. You know what I mean? So, his junior year, and I still can't understand what it is after he did what he did in his junior year and he showed what he can do. It was still like he needs to still show us. He had to do more. And that was the same thing with football that happened in high school. Like, yeah, I know he looked like this and he can do that, but he got to show more. And it baffles me sometimes when I hear the phrase, we need to see more, when I know you've only seen a glimpse of a couple other kids over there. They've only showed you a glimpse, and you throw them the world. But anyway, what I believe is that happened on purpose for my particular boy, for his development, for his mental stamina. I think that was on purpose, right? I think he's developed a chip on his shoulder and has always had to try to prove himself because of these things. But No, that was a great question. But I think that the JUCO route is not a bad option. I've coached at both of those levels, 4-year school and at the JUCO level. And I don't want people to leave here. I'm going to tell you right now, you cannot leave this conversation thinking JUCO is some slight to a kid. You got to do what's best for your son or your daughter. And the JUCO route, while it is kind of like the Wild Wild West, though, D. Because those kids are definitely not there for academics. Okay, to they're there to either go pro right now or to get themselves into a better situation than they would have had coming out of high school. So it is the Wild Wild West. JUCO is the Wild Wild West. I know a kid who went to a big time SEC school out of high school, which he was committed to them as a sophomore. They sold him all these dreams, but when they got there his freshman year, and it happens to a lot of people. Now, don't get me wrong, freshmen don't always play,
Right.
but he could never really get himself on the field, and if he did get on the field, he only played a couple innings, and then he was back on the bench. And then they told him, "Hey, you probably can be our starting center fielder next year." But he was like, "But I didn't come here to play center field. I'm a shortstop." Well, he didn't go back to that SEC school his sophomore year. He went to a JUCO. Guess what? He got drafted in the 4th round from that JUCO, and now he's playing pro ball. And he was drafted as a shortstop. So, and this is what I'm going to tell. Like I had this conversation with a kid last night. Just because this college coach told you that you can't do that at this particular level, well, that coach at that school told that kid, you pretty much can't play that position here, but you can play center field. And he ended up leaving there, going to a JUCO, working on his game, drafted in the 4th round as a shortstop in pro ball right now, been in there 2 years right now. So while it could kill your confidence, but here's the thing, right? I know there's a bunch of parents on here right now, right? So parents, like, it is up to us to help our kids maintain their confidence. Like, I don't care what no coach says. I don't care what they say. Now, they do have the ultimate say on whether they put their name on the lineup or not. But if that's not a situation that you think your kid is going to be able to thrive in, first of all, it gets on my nerves when parents jump at the first offer that their kid gets. Like, it ain't just about the name of the on the front of the jersey. Like, you need to know if that coach is an asshole or not. Now, don't get me wrong. Most baseball coaches are assholes anyway. But and I'm one, okay? I'm one. However, I care about the kids I work with. I care about their development and overall being as a person. It's not just about me. I care about their well-being. And so if you can get that kind of feeling out of a college coach, then you need to be there, because that person's going to do whatever they can. Even though your kid may not be on the field all the time, they're going to be working with them to help them develop into who they can be, right? Or give them opportunities to do so. Because some coaches don't care. They're like, so what? I don't care. Like, that's not who's doing it for me. Boom, I need this kid in the game. And that's how it goes. And it's really can be that cutthroat, or you can find yourself a program where the coach actually cares about your son's overall well-being, and they're going to develop them as a man, not just as a baseball player. So that's what I look for. And we have to be our kids' number one advocate.
Facts. Oh, spill it. I got a bunch of listen to your wife. The wife has spoken. That's when Niggy was over there talking her, being heard in the background, singing from the background. Vic, thank you for your honesty and being real. That's Nadine, Nadine is JP's. Remember, Nadine and JP came in September way back. So
I think I just saw JP. What was I at? I just saw JP. I was at East Cobb. Does he wear number 42?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I just saw him last weekend up at East Cobb. I don't know what the name of that team was, but I just saw him. I started to walk up to him, but I was like, this cat don't remember me. So I just left him alone. But yeah, I just saw him. Congratulations to your son, by the way.
All right. Just committed to Georgia Tech himself. So this is Hello Vic and Coach D Rob over there. Vic, at any time did y'all consider putting Barron in the transfer portal? Seems as though D1 college is as much cutthroat as professional baseball. My boy D-Rob in California.
Okay, D-Rob, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was, and let me just say, I'm gonna preface this whole thing by saying I love James Ramsey, what he does for that program. I love Danny Hall, what they do for that program. Those are some good guys over at Georgia Tech. So I'm not here to say anything bad about that program. They run a great program, and Barron got everything he needed there, and they loved on him as much as I can expect. But like I said, that whole adversity thing, that's something that was necessary. So everything that he had to go through, he needed to go through it. And so, but to answer your question, I was there. I was at the place, and I was like, okay, so if we don't get and I told you I sent Barron to go have a talk with them. And so if Barron didn't get the answers relayed to me that I felt comfortable with, yes, we would have been in the portal. But because they were honest and upfront, I was like, I can live with that. And so I didn't want to go to the portal. I didn't want to uproot him from Georgia Tech. We sent him there for him to get the development that he needs. And ultimately, he did. It ain't going to always be pretty, I promise you. What we would love is for it to be an easy road, for it to be the yellow brick road. Our kid's going to skip on down. He's going to have the best time of his life, and every day is going to be great. Well, while that all sounds good, that's not good for his overall development and character development, right? That's not because what happens when he gets to pro ball, and you got people speak a bunch of different languages, and things ain't gonna go your way. Things are not gonna go your way all the time. And so, what are you gonna do if adversity hits you once you get the pro ball for the first time? You're probably gonna quit. You're probably gonna quit and go home because it's hard. Pro ball is. Yeah, you get your share of adversity at D1 level or at the college level, but it's a different story when you're actually getting paid and everybody around you is getting paid, and you know that people don't like. You get fined for doing silly stuff in pro ball. They take your money. It ain't no, all right, everybody on the line, everybody on the baseline. Nah, we're gonna take your money, or we're just gonna send you home. Now hold on, D. Before you, listen, I ain't gonna say I've done it all, but before I met D Brown, before he got to Fort Myers, I got suspended. I got suspended for 10 days. And this was my second year rookie ball, and I'm down there because I'm feeling myself, and I already feel like, man, I did really good the next year, and I think I deserve to be moved to the next level, but they didn't move me up. So now I'm back down here in this freaking heat with these new people. Why am I here? And so I guess that's the vibe that I was giving off. You're supposed to be in the training room at a certain time. He ain't showing up on time. Man, I got there one day. They told me, hey, Vic, here's your ticket home. And I was like, what? Like, yeah, we don't think you really want to play baseball. This is what they really said. Like, we don't think you want to play baseball. So they gave me a ticket to get on the plane and take my ass to the house. And it wasn't no, hey, I'm sorry, I ain't gonna do it again. It was like, go home. and so I went home. I went home, man. And
that was the second year of professional ball.
Second year. They were like, it don't seem like you want to play. So see you later. And and really you don't understand what you got until they just snatch it away from you. And they freaking snatched it away from me. And I was like, hey, I learned my lesson. I'm sorry. I ain't gonna do it again. But they were like, nah, you out. You out. So I went home, man. I was at home. I ain't come out. Nobody knew I was home because it was like in June.
Right.
If people know you play pro ball and they see your face in June, you got cut. You
either released or you got a lot of questions to answer. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So I ain't come out the house. I called the minor league director as soon as I got home. Like, hey, it ain't never gonna happen again. Right. So by the time you got to me, that's when you got the good Vic. You got the good Vic Radcliff because I had already been whipped.
That's a good
They
story
already,
though. I
hey,
remember, but I didn't remember all that. But people need to hear that. Like that's how this goes. So you telling me it ain't sprints, and then you gonna sit down for an inning or two,
nah,
or you ain't playing the next day. You going home,
go home.
and you
You
a
out.
fourth round pick,
You don't want to be
five
here.
round pick.
Fourth round pick. They gave me some money and they still sent me home.
Hmm.
Still sent me home. And I listen, that kind of thing developed me into who I am right now. I
Hmm.
don't put up with kids stuff like that, man. I'm like, you ain't got to do this. Ain't nobody here too good that I ain't got to tell you, see you later, son. You don't want it,
Hmm.
right? Because we're here to help you get better. And if you feel like that you got to have your butt kissed in order for that to happen, this ain't the place for you. You out. Like, and it's no hard feelings. Like, it's just the way it is. And you
Hmm.
need to give kids that kind of tough love. That has to happen because if not, they're looking for a crash and burn at one day. And I don't want to be part of the problem or part of the reason why that kid never learned a lesson. So I'm always going to be real like that. So and I got my butt spanked, and then and I went on to have a good year that year. I went on to have a good year that year on the field and off.
Jay Meyer says, when did your son start playing a travel ball outside of the local town team?
Um, really, um, we played rec. Uh, our last year playing rec was 11 years old. Um, and I wish that this didn't happen to rec ball. I wish that it didn't happen. But you know what I'm talking about. You get to a place where, you know, you got some kids who, and I didn't notice this when I was playing because we had more talent in the league when I was young. It was a lot more talent that played rec baseball. But when Barron was coming through in the 2000s, right? Um, you had each team had about 3 good kids, maybe. Then you had like 5 or 6 that were okay, and then you probably had 3 that either never played baseball before, couldn't catch, didn't even know how to stand in a box, right? At 11 years old. And so because of that, you know, you had a lot of kids in the league who they had to be careful. I mean, balls can get hit at kids who, all right, it's got to be fair. Everybody got to get a chance to play on the infield and stuff like that. And everybody got a bat. And so we got to a place was like, okay, that's enough. We got to go. Our kids are we're trying to play higher level baseball. So let's put these boys together. So we did make a team at 12 and we played other teams that were in other communities. So I guess you can call that travel baseball. So that was at 12 years old. But real, you know, showcase baseball, that didn't happen until he was 16 that he got on that circuit. Now, I have been coaching travel baseball this is 7 years now. And the level of baseball that I see at 14 right now, I wish that my son played that level of baseball when he was 14
Mm.
because it would have had him prepared better going into that draft process as a senior in high school. Um, he hadn't been seeing 95 miles an hour, you know, stuff like that. He hadn't seen that kind of stuff before. So when we went down to East Coast Pro, I know that's probably for a show for another day, but he sucked, really. He sucked down there because he was seeing elite pitching. Now on the last day of it, he had 2 bombs because he adapted, right? He adapted. And
Mm.
but as a parent, that happened on Thursday. On a Wednesday night, after the game was over with, he was sulking. He came to the fence. And the reason why I'm saying this, I said it already, but I'm going to rehash it. He came to the fence like, Dad, I don't even know why I'm here. Because he was missing football practice to be there. But he was like, Dad, I don't even know why I'm here. I'm sucking. And I was like, listen, dude, you got to understand that these kids are out here, have been playing this travel baseball thing for a lot longer than you have. And they probably got 1,000 or so more bats than you have. You haven't seen this. They're used to this. And so all you got to do is believe that you can make
Mm.
the adjustment. You just got to,
Mm.
all right. So the reason why I'm telling you guys this is because, again, parents, you have to understand that you give your kids their confidence, right? They're going to I'm telling you, they're going to live up to what you tell them they can do. I promise you, they're going to be able to live up to but you got to stay in their butts. You can't try to be their friend. You're going to have the hard conversations. And if you are making your kid laugh and smile and y'all cool all the time, then we ain't on the right track, right? I mean, maybe I don't need to go that far, D, but you can't. We ain't got time to be our kids' friends. All right. What we are right now is, we are the patrol officers right now. We are making sure that they are in line, that they're doing what they're supposed to do. I know we can't be around them all the time, and yeah, we want to let them be grown and stuff like that. But you still, man, listen, Barron is 21 years old, done been to school. He's in pro ball now, but I am still parenting this man as hard as I ever had. I'm parenting him as hard, but I do give him his freedom because I want him to be confident as a man. But a lot of things, like I'm like, hey man, here's how this story goes. You take it or leave it. I'm at the point now where I'm like, take it or leave it, right? So yeah, give your kid their confidence, and they're gonna do what they're gonna do what you put into them. So that's from my perspective. So that's how it worked out for me.
All right. We got a bunch of Quincy says, thank you. I need to hear that one day. This is going back to not saying nothing to the coaches. We're going way back there. These are some of the comments about the story of, great story about encouraging the kids to speak to the coaches. All right. So Manny, I know Manny's going through it out in Texas with his son in high school. And, so, those comments are from back then. All right. Brandon says, JUCO is a fabulous fraternity to belong to, but we're a different group. LOL is a great group, but even JUCO ain't for everybody. All right. Yeah. Deborah said, would you say playing at a good D2 and getting a lot of playing time is better than going to a big name university and being on the bench? JUCO is always good. JUCO was always good. Look at Tim Anderson.
Yeah, I can. I'm going to say this: you have to find the right fit. To me, the level, the D1, D2 thing, that doesn't matter. To me, that doesn't matter. You have to showcase that you, because at college baseball, it is more than just about your athleticism. You got to get to a point where it's all in here now. It becomes more than just a game of athleticism. It becomes a game of intelligence. And so, yes, you need to, at certain points, you need to be able to throw the ball at a certain velocity or be smart enough to keep batters on balance as a pitcher. I don't think that you have to throw the ball 98 miles an hour, 95 miles an hour for you to be an effective pitcher. As long as you can keep hitters off balance and get ground balls and pop-ups, then they will pay you a $30 million contract also, right? So that level thing doesn't matter. It's can you get guys out? Hitters now, when it comes to hitting, what can you do? Like, are you consistent? Do you have power? Do you have speed? Do you have a good arm? Tools matter, right? So if you have tools, that level that you play on, it's going to show that you can play. It don't even matter. Like I played with guys that came from D1 JUCO. I played with guys who took the long route. Like I played with some guys who they had a gap year after high school, then they went to JUCO, then they found themselves a 4-year school, and then they went into independent ball, and then somebody picked them up in the pro ball, and man, they made it all the way to AAA. So it's possible to get noticed. Yes, I know I'm going off on a tangent. I told you, D, stop me if I'm going in the wrong direction.
I'm over here playing controller. Go ahead.
but listen, you don't have to go to D1 school. You can go to D2 school. You can go to D3 school. I've coached at that level too. There's baseball players at all these different levels. There's good baseball at all these levels. And if you put up numbers and you show that you can play, you can get opportunities.
All right. Mark says, question for Coach Vic. He's in Atlanta and trains players there. Has he seen more black players stick with baseball? ? Seems like Atlanta is becoming a hotbed for young black ball players.
Man, I see teams that have especially at the younger age groups, is teams of all black baseball players, right? If you look at teams like the East Cobb Astros, the majority of the team be black. Like we played the Astros not long ago. I'm like, man, where y'all come from? And they be from all over the state, right? I was like, this is a Negro League team. But yes, black kids are playing baseball, and they're playing baseball at a high level, and they're good from what I'm seeing. I had a situation with a parent the other day, but okay, now I want everybody to hear this, and this is how black kids get turned off from baseball right here. So her son plays. Red Ants, give me a bucket. Her son plays recreation baseball. He's 9 years old. They make an all-star team where there's a blue. Well, let me be quiet. I can't say that. They have two teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this kid is one of the best athletes in the league. Now, at 9 years old, your athleticism really is superior to everything else, right? You can hit, you can throw hard, but this kid is really good for a 9-year-old. Well, he didn't get picked on the top team. He's black. So on this other team, they claim that the reason why he didn't make that team is because they wanted to take all the top pitchers in the league, he don't pitch, he catches. They wanted to take all the top pitchers in the league, so that's why he got left out. But I'm like, wait a minute. So it's an all-star team. You're supposed to take the best players. Best players make the top team, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not even, but it's more than about that. It's about the recognition. Like you're not gonna recognize my kid as one of the best kids in this league because your strategy is you're gonna get the top 9 pitchers. First of all, ain't nobody pitching 9 people. Not at that level.
Right.
So that is a false. That's like you, who you think you're talking to? Like, I know y'all pick friends, and that's a shame. So because when that kind of stuff happens, it's like, okay, so now our kid is getting left out because you're playing this favoritism thing. You know what? We ain't even got to do this baseball thing. Let's go play where there's more kids that look like us. And that's how that right there is how you lose a lot of black kids to playing baseball. But I do see a lot in this travel baseball thing. I see a lot of guys that be trying to start travel teams and stuff like that, but they don't go up past. And when they do that, hear me right. When they do that, it be all about athleticism at them young ages because the bases ain't that far apart. So really, the skill thing don't even matter much. It's like I can steal all these bases and I can put the ball in play and outrun the ball and stuff like that. But they don't learn a lot of skill. If they had the skill to go with that supreme athleticism, then they dominate. They would dominate this game, right? But they don't always get that because they get to a place where it's like, all right, I don't really know, the coaches, I don't really know this game to get him to another level. Just, once they get out 12-year-old, the bases start getting farther apart. You can't outrun the baseball no more. These other kids have better skill, so you kind of don't even look like you belong on this field no more. And so they don't play no more after that. That's what happens. And I'm not gonna let that happen. Not on my watch. So when the kids when they bring their kids to me, like I'm like, okay, y'all did that already. So now we're gonna learn the skill of baseball. So let's go. And it's frustrating at first because they've been playing so long and they got really bad habits, right? Because it's like learning broken English. If you don't learn the right, you know what I'm saying? It's like baseball is a language, right? So if you learn a broken version of it, you've learned how to understand it. You know how to speak it, but you don't know how to read it. So now we got to go back and teach you the fundamentals of it, and it takes time. And sometimes people don't have the patience to put into learning the skill. Like I can go out here and be more athletic than everybody and go to college for free right now, right? Like football. I can go out here and be more athletic and bigger and stronger than everybody else in my 1 year. I can do it just in my senior year in high school, and I can go get a 4-year scholarship. But baseball, I gotta dedicate my life to learning these skills. Sometimes it's an easier route, but that's just the fact.
No, I love it, man. Same thing happened to my son regarding All-Star team. Need to balance the lesser team, so they put him on, and he is younger. So we took the older kid to make the All-Star team, or we only take 2 kids per team, and the coaches put their 2 kids on the All-Star team. It's tough watching your kid cry because he knows he's better, but passed over. It happens so many times.
It sucks. Yeah, they get passed over, and it's like, nah, we ain't doing this. And here's the thing. Here's where we mess up, though. We mess
Mm-hmm.
up by just taking our ball and going home instead of telling the people, hey, this is how you wronged me. It's not right what you did. So we got to say something. Like sometimes people, they don't understand it. They might not even know they did. They might not even know they wronged you. So you have to speak up on, like, if you recognize that that's an injustice, then you got to speak up about it. You can't just quit. And that's what normally happens is we just quit and go someplace else instead of just saying, hey, what you did was wrong. And so if you continue to do that, then the cycle just continues.
Facts. All right. K Moore says baseball is a language. I'm using that one. All right.
Conroy.
We had Kid Pello chimed in, said, "What's up, roomies?" He was on the other page. I couldn't put it on the page, but
okay.
Adam Mullen, Scott's brother.
Hey,
right.
Let me just say something to Kid Pello real quick.
That's if he's still on. I bet he ain't on, but say, go ahead. I hope he didn't hear this message. Go ahead.
Okay. I told you Barron hit balls a long way in BP the other day. But he was like, Dad, why is it that some people just be like ooh and ahhing over that kind of stuff? I said, son, because it's called manpower. Everybody don't have manpower. And then I was telling him about Kit Pello and
Yes.
what was the Italian cat coaching? He might be a big league coach now. Sal Fasano.
Sal Fasano, Sally Sal, yeah. He's with the Braves.
Those cats have manpower, right?
Right.
You got people who can hit the ball over the fence, but some people have manpower. And in pro ball, you are looked at like, wow. When you have manpower, right? When you got manpower, you're a different horse. So
it's them dudes, the manpower dudes you talking about is them dudes that be mishitting balls, or they hit long, lazy pop flies that end up going 30, 40 feet way past the fence. They be like, damn, that look like he mishit that, and it's a high pop, like, and it just keep going, But that's how Pello had that, he be flicking balls out there. Kid Pello. But yeah, he I wanted to
hey, come here.
I wanted to get back to this before we, my boy Bill in Jersey said Vic need to get one day on your show by himself and got to take over. So I'm like, all right.
Hey, look at the clown right
here. There you go. Speaking of manpower over there, what's up, Baron? What's up, family?
He said, "What's up?" Yeah, so he got that manpower. So he
definitely do, man. So, but listen, I'm gonna let you go chill with your son, but they're gonna wrap this up though, Vic. So when it comes to the, again, I want to get way back to the topic of we was, getting on with the percentages of opening day.
Okay.
So if I'm a high school parent, and let's just say I have a high level kid like Barron, give me about 2 to 3 factors I would need to, bring into the equation of either why I would want to go to a 4-year school or take the pro route. If you give me 3, key factors in any way, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, for somebody to think about it. I know we went off to the college tag, which is great. Oh, lost my man. Well, let's see if you come back on here. I know it's we've been on for a long time. What up, D Lowry? There you go. You went off a little bit, but you're back on. But you heard my question, though, right?
D, can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just went out on you for a second. But
yeah, I know you did.
Am I back? Am I clear?
Yeah, you good. I was just saying, give me three reasons why, parents may choose to either take the pro route, or 3 reasons why they should go pro. Not 6, but just kind of get 3 in general. Maybe, pro and contrast of each one.
I think that and I, as I'm looking at it again, um, from my perspective, the reason why I needed to go pro is because I needed to develop. I needed to develop. Um, well, the reason why I feel like I should have gone to college, but I ain't gonna say should have, because I like the things that I've done. I like the people that I've met. I like the route, what the route gave me, right? And I was able to learn from it so that when my son came along, I was able to give him some valuable information. So I can't say that I regret going that route. I would say, now listen, here's the thing. A high school kid is going to get some money in his pocket, one, right? But if you're going to go that route, it needs to be some money that's going to make a difference to you. Okay. It can't be for $100,000. You cannot give up a college experience for $100,000. You just can't. It's not worth it. I would definitely say that the college route is best. And you're asking me, D, it's hard to say, man. It all depends on the person when it comes to can I go to a JUCO where I'm going to be draft eligible each year? Because I think that might be the smartest route.
I think so too.
If I'm a pro prospect, I think going the JUCO route is the best route because I'm draft eligible every single year that I'm in college. 4-year school, some guys just want to have the experience of going to Alabama, Auburn. I want to experience what it's like to play in front of those fans, and and that kind of stuff prepares you for when you get the pro ball. That's why, like Barron, I think they're going to accelerate his advancement into the big leagues because he's already had a lot of high pressure experiences, like being in an ACC tournament and facing top round picks as pitchers and things like that. So I think he is more prepared to be pushed rather than a high school draft pick. Like we were watching the draft last year and Barron made a comment and it was funny, but it's true because he was like, how they going to get that kid $5 million and he ain't hit a real ball yet? And I was like, okay, I get it because it's like, all right, yeah, you might have faced some pitchers in high school that throw 95, but you ain't fished no college seasoned veteran that done pitched in the Cape and then been around the block. Like it's not the same thing. That atmosphere is not the same thing. Like you're on the road at North Carolina with all in the 9th inning with all their fans up and booing you and talking about your mama. And, man, I mean, we've had some experiences, especially at places like Georgia Southern.
Georgia Southern, really?
Dude, woo, they are,
the fans is nasty.
Hey, listen, I got to commend them. I got to give them the thumbs up because they are good. They provide a great home environment for their team. I'm gonna just say it like that. But,
okay.
But to be seasoned like that, I think college baseball prepares you and can accelerate you into professional baseball if that is your desire. But I believe that if you're a high school pro prospect, I think that going the JUCO route is the best route. I'm gonna put it out there. It's the best route because while you're in school, you'll still get prepared. You'll still learn how to get that. You get extra time, right? If you ain't ready after that first year, after your freshman year, so what? So what? You can go back in school. Like you don't have to come out that first year. You can come out after your second year. You don't do it third year. So I like that option. I like that route. And then if you feel like and get yourself an advisor, that helps too. I know that might be a conversation for another day, but if you could find yourself an advisor, someone who has knowledge of the game and who has contacts or connects with GMs and scouts and scouting directors and things like that, and you can know like really where you stand. If you can get somebody that has that kind of insider information, then that can help out a lot, man. It's not an agent, it's an advisor. Now, an advisor can turn into an agent once you sign a pro contract, but when you're an amateur, they're just an advisor, and you ain't paying them no money. They're working for you, and they're hoping that their time invested in you will turn into something for them later on. But But I would definitely, think about those kind of things if you are a pro prospect coming out of high school. So that's my 2 cents on that. Did I answer the question, or am I in the wrong place?
You did, man.
Okay.
Condi says what's up. Morel says what up, my boys.
Lagans.
Legons, yes. Cynthia says this is what I love about the show. D keeping it real, relatable with Vic. All right. Um, we are going to need an encore appearance from Vic. All right, you know what I'm saying? Hey, he never fails. Every time he come on, that's why. Certain topics I need. Maybe I just need to bring the boy on every week, man. Just talk baseball, man.
D, listen, you are a famous cat, dude. You don't know how many people come up to me and say, "Hey, man, I saw you on the D Brown show."
Really?
I had 2 dudes come up to me at East Cobb the other day, like, "Hey, coach." I'm like, "Hold on a second." 2 grown men walking up to me talking about, "Yeah, we saw you on the D." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, me and D, we go way back."
Hey, you ain't the only one I know. If you're telling me that, they were like, my boy was like, yo, a couple of people be like, man, you don't understand how many people be looking at this show. But that's what I do it for. But I love bringing on guests and certain topics, man. But I say this, hey, look. We want big. All right, hey, they all, hey. So we what we gonna do? All right, I like to get people what we want, but at least once, we try to hate on. You know what I'm saying? They try to sweet it up. They try to sweet up now. Great job, Vic. Thanks so much, Coach D. Yeah, all right. Yeah. Shoot. All right. Leslie says you both keep it real, and that's what I love. All right, thank you, family. All right, you know what I'm saying, fam. You know, Nikki's people. Is Nikki's sister? Is that Nikki's sister?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Let
that's
me
Lester.
see. All right. Let's Vic, man, if you could, man, I know you've been spitting that real ish, and we're gonna get you on at least, I guess, once every couple of weeks, man. Bring you on here, man. Shit, I'll give you the whole hour. I'll show you how to get on there and talk that real ish. You know?
No, I want to do it with you. Let's me and you do it.
All right, okay. We always could do it. We always talk some real. We talk about the league and everything. We make it a show, and then go from there. It's always great for the parents and the players. It really is. So anyway, real fast, Vic, I'm gonna take you out. You're gonna take us out on a great message. Listen, April 24th for my Arkansas listeners, people in and around Arkansas, and it don't matter, man. We've been we've been every showcase the last 2 or 3 has been multiple states represented. So it don't matter if you're not in the Arkansas area. Come fly in to the showcase I'm having out there in Little Rock, Arkansas, April 24th. All right. I'm lining up the coaches now. Again, few parents has been signing up and players in and around that Arkansas area. So here is the let me post it here. Here is the link to it. One question came in. Has Ryan Howard reached out to Barron yet? Vic?
Barron met Ryan Howard when not since the draft, but Barron met Ryan Howard right when Ryan Howard was still trying to make a comeback a couple years ago, maybe like 2 years ago at Georgia Tech. So they do know each other. Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, Ryan. I ran into Ryan about 2 months ago over in a barbershop here in Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, but anyway, so Vic, if you could, man, you've been speaking that real ish, man. So just take us on out, man, like you've been doing, man. But take us on with a great message, man, and we're gonna end this show, man.
Shoot, what I'm on right now. Well, as you know, I'm down here, and I guess I'll go back to reiterate what I was talking about earlier. Parents, you're going to be your kid's confidence. It really disturbed me, the conversation I had with that young kid the other day, to learn that his coach told him that he doesn't have what it takes. He pretty much said, you don't have what it takes to play this position or play in the infield on this level. So now I got to question now he's questioning his ability to make a judgment on, is this the right institution for me? Because I'm like, do you think you made the right decision? And he feels like right now, and I just want him to think about these things. Like, I'm not asking you to leave. I'm not asking him to leave that school. But what I am asking him is, I want him to rethink how he feels about it. Because right now you have an adult who's telling a kid, you don't have what it takes to play here. And yeah, I know I told you that your offense needed some work, but now I feel like your defense needs some work. That's like an excuse for him not to I'm going to redshirt you. All right, well, because you redshirted me, now I need to know some answers now. So anyway, I'm going back to this. So parents, what do you do? Because the dad was like, man, do I need to talk to the coach? I'm like, you can't talk to the coach. Don't even try. But you do need to give your kid the courage or the confidence to say, hey, coach, I want to have a conversation with you. And in that conversation, your boy needs to be able to live with the answer that he gets. And if he gets the answer that he don't feel right, because the boy did tell me some things didn't sit well with him. All right. So if it don't sit well with you, you need answers. You can't just keep walking around stewing over, well, what do they think about me? That's not how you're supposed to live your life. Like, you need to get if there's someone who can give you the answers. That's why I'm always pushing for entrepreneurship now. Be your own boss. So you're gonna know all that. You're gonna know where you stand with yourself, right? But in this particular situation, go get the answers. And as parents, we have to be. Listen, my son didn't always have the fire to go out and take what's his, right? So if that's the case, now it's gonna come. Some kids get it at 9, right? Some kids get it at 6 years old, but mine didn't get it until he was 16. And it used to drive me and my wife crazy. Like, man, how come you want to be, all this stuff, like, you should be doing this and you should be doing that. And why come you don't want it?
I'm doing it now. I'm doing it now. Hold on. Yes.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
So if that's the case, then us parents have to be that fire that your son or your daughter needs. We have to be that fire, because if you tell me you want to do this and you want to do that, you want to be a pro, you want to be in D1, or you want to be an All-American, then all right, then I'm going to expect you to live your life like you're trying to do that. And I'm going to show you, or I'm going to put you in situations that help you get there. So don't tell me you want to be all this and that. You don't tell me you want to be extraordinary, but think you're going to lead an ordinary life. That's not what we're going to do. Like, here we go. Like, so I'm going to put you in the fast lane since you wanted to be there. But even if you don't know how fast to go, or you don't know how to do it, then us parents have to be that fuel, that fire that they need until they get it on their own. And eventually they'll get it. Like, my son has it now. I ain't got to push him. He knows what he got to do to maintain where he is. So that's my last word. Parents, we got to be our children's fire. We got to be their courage until they get it on their own.
Man, wise man has spoken, man. I ain't going to say no more. Listen, so tomorrow, you will not see me on until Thursday. All right. I am, you got a bunch of right-ons and all right, they taking back old school, talking about right on. You know what I mean? So that's when you know you're speaking to real ish, right? Right on. They ain't no, like, that's when you know somebody. That's old school right there. Right on. Yeah. So, I will not be on tomorrow, but Thursday I will be back. Is on 4 p.m. Eastern. Vic is down there with his son. So he down there chilling. So when he get back, he holler, So let's 4 p.m. I'll see you guys on Thursday, man. Vic, love you, my brother. Thank you. Enjoy your son. Enjoy Barron and the family down there in beautiful Florida. You could have stayed in the car. I like how you got to do the palm trees in the background.
Yeah, right. You see him.
Yeah, right. You got to start on everybody with the palm trees and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So, right. Go ahead. Go ahead and enjoy your son, Barron, man, and the family, man. Enjoy your son over there playing professional ball, man. All the hard work is paying off, man. And, man, just like they said, tight work, love those last words, man. Love you, my brother, man. And I'll holler at you, man, when I guess the next day or two when you're down there in Florida. Let me know how you doing. All right?
All right, man. Be good.
All right.
See y'all
Parents,
later.
I'll see you Thursday at 4 p.m. Love y'all, man. All right, man.